shortly after 8 o'clock here. We're gonna get started momentarily. Gonna wait for a couple people to join. Takes a minute for Facebook to notify everybody that I am ready to go. Just adjust so you guys can see. It's hard for me to tell space-wise what everybody can see here. Hello. Hello. Hi, Anna. So, just quickly before I get started, I'm going to say that my phone is quite a distance away from me so that you're able to see my stove and what I'm doing. So, if I'm not able to see your comments, when I post the replay for the people who can't be joining us live, I will go through and read all the comments to make sure that nobody gets missed. So make sure you're typing away, and your questions and comments will be acknowledged. I promise. I just can't see that far. So tonight we are going to be making, in my little kitchen, welcome to Sherry's Kitchen, going to be making brownies. We are going to be making meatballs, and we are going to be making marinara sauce. So I chose these things because I can reheat them later in the week to serve for my family on Thursday when it's ballet night for 2 of the girls. And who doesn't like brownies, right? So I'm going to be using the stove and the microwave, and it is going to be awesome. I've done the meatballs this way one time before, and they turned out so perfectly. I was blown away. So I'm going to get started by just heating a little bit of olive oil in my pan. I was going to do this before we started, but it's bedtime for the kids and that just didn't happen. I've got 3 daughters. They are Tegan, Gemma, and Piper. They are 11, 8, and 7 years old. So I have my hands full all the time. This is our saute spoon. It's my favorite thing. Just wanted to show it to you. So into my pan, I am going to just add some onions and mushrooms that I already cut up. It's 1 onion and a couple little mushrooms. To make the marinara sauce, you do not have to do this. You could literally just do the seasoning and the tomatoes and be golden. It's perfectly yummy that way. I like a chunky sauce, not just like I'm making like a pasta sauce, not just a base marinara. So I'm adding a couple veggies. That's it. So get those going. Is my burner on? Yes, it is. And I'm gonna just chop a little bit of celery to throw in there as well. Celery adds a nice little crunch. And my kids love celery, so throw it in, right? I've got 2 little skinny stalks here. Chop that. And throw that in the pan too. Marinara is almost done. This is one of our little flexible cutting mats. I love this thing. It comes in this size and 2 like larger sizes. I use them for everything. Even my kids do their homework on them when they're painting. They're fantastic. And they're dishwasher safe too, which is great. So I'm just gonna give that a little swirl around, let that soften up. And basically to that, all I'm going to do is add a can of diced tomatoes. It doesn't matter what brand you use, whatever floats your boat, and a can of crushed tomatoes. Use this guy to get all the goodies. I have a little bit less than a can here because I used a little bit in some chili tonight for dinner that I made. 20-minute chili, you gotta love that. So I'm gonna stir that up. Just like this. Turn my heat up a little bit. So, our marinara sauce, tomato sauce, basically, pasta sauce, compared to other jarred sauces that you're used to is no comparison when it comes to sugar. How much sugar is in this? 2 grams. I mean, it's tomatoes, so it's natural sugars. And in this can, 5, so 7 grams of sugar in the whole thing divided. This makes 6 cups, by the way. So you could completely have this for your family. Like, this will make a couple big mason jars full of sauce. So this will last us. I'll get dinner on Thursday. We could do pizzas and have, use it as pizza sauce. We could use it again as dipping sauce. It makes a lot. Ooh. So to this, I am just going to add 3 tablespoons of our marinara seasoning. I'm using our 4-in-1 spice spoon here. It is the handiest little guy. I'll show it to you in a second. 1, 2, 3. Marinara is done. That's it. That's all you have to do. You just let it simmer now for 15-20 minutes. I'm going to give it a little stir. How easy was that to make amazing tomato sauce? It really is really, really good sauce. Give it a nice little stir so all those herbs blend in and soften up and simmer and get yummy. That is it. Now, I have a little tip from me to you. I throw in a carrot, a whole carrot. I've peeled it, but I'm just going to throw it in and let it simmer with the sauce because it adds a little bit of natural sugars. Because sometimes, you know, canned tomatoes will sometimes you'll notice a kind of tinny little taste to them sometimes, depending on the brand. But I find that if you add just a little bit of sweetness, then that goes away. So I know a lot of people will add a little bit of sugar. Sure, you can do that, or just add a carrot and it will release its sugars and totally solve that problem for you. I learned that on a cooking show, and it totally works. So that's marinara. How easy was that? That was amazing. So next, yummy. Next, I'm going to do the brownies. Okay. Let's see if there's any. So there are people watching. Hello. Okay. So the brownies are very, very easy to make. This is them. I'm going to be using the multi-purpose steamer to make the brownies. I know, right? Microwaving them. Let me talk to you about the steamer for a minute. Here it is. Okay, it is big enough you can roast a whole chicken in here in about 20 minutes and you'll even get crispy skin. It's super good. It has like a crisping tray. You can kind of see through there. So you can, I'm going to be using the tray for the meatballs actually. But you can put bacon on there and you'll get perfectly crisp bacon in my microwave 6 minutes, other microwaves 5. It is amazing. You can do rice in here. This is the only way I do rice now. You can bake like I'm going to. Of course, you can just steam your veggies. You don't have to add any water. You just steam your veggies. And the best part is when you're all done, you can just throw the whole thing right in the dishwasher. And it is oven safe up to 450 degrees. I do recommend that you set it on a pan though, so it doesn't like on your rack, you know, just set it on a baking sheet. So, moving along to brownies. That is awesome. So, I'm just reading my directions here. So I oiled this lightly. Don't use a cooking spray because it will deteriorate your silicone. You don't want that to happen. But you can use oil or butter. I just used a little bit of vegetable oil. And whisk 2 eggs with a half a cup of oil. So, 2 eggs. Here we go. 1, 2, and a whisk. So see, I'm wiping my hands on my apron here. This is the apron actually. Can you see that? that is part of the gifting stuff that launched today. And with every apron sold, it's a great apron, it's really heavy duty. With every apron sold, a meal is donated by Epicure to a family in need. So get an apron. Where is my oil? Here it is. So I have a half a cup of oil already measured out here in my little prep bowl. These have measurements right on them. I love these things. So I'm going to whisk this together. Seriously, baking like this is so much faster, and I am not a baker. It is just not something that I am great with. So doing the Epicure baking, I can do that. Okay, so whisk that together. You add this. It smells good. You whisk that, and you're basically done making brownies. I'm glad I'm wearing my apron because I'm making a mess. Maybe I should use a bigger bowl. Okay, so I don't know if you saw my post earlier, but I made a little post about gluten-free baking. Have you ever baked with gluten-free ingredients before? Gluten-free does not have the best reputation when it comes to baking, does it? Where is my... Where's my favorite? Here it is. It's my 3-in-1 spatula. This is my other favorite thing. Everybody needs to have this. Really gets in there. But, so gluten-free baking, because it doesn't have gluten, gluten is kind of the... I don't even know what gluten does, but it kind of is the binder in your cooking. It gives some nice texture, and gluten-free baking is known for kind of being a crumbly mess. Okay, that's just what gluten-free, that's the reputation. So what I have learned is when you are gluten-free baking, mix your batter, okay, just like I am, and then let it sit for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, and then the liquids get in there and they're able to work with the whatever kind of flour that you're using instead of white or wheat flour. So this has chickpea flour. The ingredients for this, by the way: organic cane sugar, chickpea flour, organic cocoa powder, baking soda, sea salt, oil, and eggs. That's it. You can pronounce all of that. So the time allows the non-glutinous to break down and become a nicer, smoother texture that will work out to be like normal baking. So I know people have baked gluten-free before and they've had terrible results. That's the reason why. Let it sit. So now this is like this. We are letting it sit for a few minutes. Just like that, while we get on the meatballs. In here I don't even know how much ground beef. A lot. I had one of those big packs and I just kind of threw a bunch in here. So I'm winging it with measurements, and that's okay. I'm going to add to my ground beef, it's quite a bit, so I'm going to do 2 for now. We'll see, may add more, of our 3 onion dip mix. I use this on everything. The one thing about dip mixes is you don't have to just use them for dips. Use them for seasoning. Sprinkle them on your chicken, mix them in your mashed potatoes, put them in your meatballs, do whatever. You do not have to just use these as dips. I get asked all the time, Sherry, I have an unopened spinach dip. I don't know what to do with it. Girl, throw that stuff in your eggs. Delicious. Put it in your potatoes. Holy cow. There's a million. Sprinkle it on French fries. There's a million things you can do with the dips besides making dips, okay? That's my #1 tip for anybody who is cooking with Epicure. Use your dips for everything, not just dips. But if you're like me, you eat a lot of dips. Just saying. So 4-in-1 spice spoon. Before I forget, it has your tablespoon, teaspoon, turn it over, and it has a spot there for a 1/2 teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon, all in one handy spoon that's not going to get all separated and lost in your drawers. And they were designed to fit down in our narrow Epicure jars. Brilliant. Everybody needs that. So I've got 3 onion. I am going to add in some sprinkle cheese, as my family calls it. And I'm going to throw in some herb garlic salt. This is another favorite at my house for cooking. Bit of salt. I'm just gonna mix this up. I'm gonna get my hot water running though, so I'm gonna wash my hands. Give those a wash. I'm just gonna mix this up. Just like this, right in my steamer. I'm not adding egg, I'm not adding any binders. They're gonna be just fine, I promise. Give them I don't think I need to add anything else. I think this looks good. Nice and blended. Get right in there. Is there anything grosser than the feeling of cold, raw meat? I don't think there is anything grosser. So, pick that up, grab this guide, I'm going to toss it right in there, and I'm going to make my meatballs on the tray, and the fat will drip out. I'm just going to make some meatballs. A bit smaller than a golf ball. Just like this. You know how to make meatballs. It's like Play-Doh. I may have to do 2 batches here. I have a lot of meat. But they literally take no time to cook. Like 5 minutes I'll probably do. See, I'm going to arrange them on here, see how we're doing. And they can be touching, that's not a problem. I'll do some more. Just like this. Who else's kids love meatballs? Do get one-handed here. Actually, I'm not going to use one of these lids, so I'm going to set that down. Does anybody have any questions about the party so far? How easy is this, right? You should totally host your own cook-up and get your own free stuff. And the best part is when you book a cooking class, or cook up as I call them, from Anna's class, she is going to get an item for half price, and you will get $20 to spend at your own cooking class as added host rewards. So how awesome is that? Okay, that's good enough. I'm going to wash my hands. Remember if I normally cover these or not, because I've only done them once, but I'm going to give them a cover. When you put the lid on your steamer, you want to make sure that the air vents are away from the handles so you don't steam your hands when you take it out. So I'm just going to set that in there, and we will do 5 minutes. like that. Easy peasy. They're gonna be done in a second. I'm gonna check on my marinara. It smells so good. I wish I had smell-o-vision. I wish you guys could taste this. One of these days, maybe we'll get back into in-home cooking classes. But look at that. It is so delicious. Can you see? It smells heavenly. Not too garlicky, just yummy. Everything is simmering. Love it. I'm gonna move this ground beef out of the way here. So I'm going to check and see if I can see any questions. No questions so far. It's pretty easy, right? Give this another stir. Look, it's really, you can tell that the texture is already changing. I mean, it has that brownie texture, kind of thicker than cake, but lovely. I'm just going to kind of wait a little bit here. But, so I talked about the silicone, talked about bucketing. How easy is this? Anybody can do this, okay? It is so simple. I am not a professional chef, obviously. I'm just a home cook. I've got my 3 kids. I started using Epicure because my middle daughter kind of has a little bit of a sensitive tummy. She doesn't need gluten-free, I'm not saying that, but she has a little bit of a sensitive tummy. So I just started here and there, just buying Epicure when people were having a cooking class, whatever, right? And then I started using it more and more and more, and I'm like, why aren't I selling this? Why aren't I making money or getting my own discount, really, on it? So that's why I started. I've been doing this since right before the pandemic started. I've never actually had my own in-home class. It has been virtual the whole time because of the pandemic. So, speaking of pandemic, one thing that I did want to mention was you may notice when you're going through the virtual, like the online catalog, you may see a lot of stuff is unavailable right now. There's still so much awesome stuff available, so I don't want to be like, oh, no, not available. But, hi Emily. There's some constraints. I mean, we're all having constraints. Every store is having constraints in getting some of the products. Like for instance, there for a bit, we weren't able to do the carrot cake, which is my favorite new product. Everybody needs to get the carrot cake. I think it's available again now because there's no cloves. Cloves were not around. Some of the nutritional yeast toppers, like I think it's called roasted tomato or something, it's not available right now because there's no yeast. So with Epicure being certified clean, non-GMO and organic, and everything is in the highest level of quality. So they're not going to just scope out and just grab whatever garlic they can get or whatever yeast they can get. No, it's the highest quality, organic, non-GMO, just the highest of quality, so they can make the stuff that you're used to getting. They're not going to skimp on quality just for the sake of having stuff for people to buy and not be ultimately happy with, which I appreciate as a consultant. I would rather my customers have to wait a couple weeks to order something that they want than order something and be like, oh, this isn't what I remember it being, and then not being happy with Epicure anymore. So I appreciate that. See, I just got mine today. Oh, yay! Yay me. 5-minute carrot muffins being made tonight. Yes! That is my go-to. I haven't even actually made the carrot cake as a cake yet. I have literally just been making it as little carrot muffins. Have you guys seen in the gifting, the gifts that dropped today, the Tinsel Tuesday gifts? There's a little kid's little chef baking thing, and it is so cute with the muffin makers, and it's got this guy in it and a whole bunch of really great things. And I use those muffin makers. I just divvy the carrot cake into all of those, put them in the microwave. I think I do 4 minutes, and they're so delicious. Holy cow. I just pop them in the kids' lunch. I don't put icing on them or anything. They don't need it because they're so juicy and yummy. So I'm gonna take these out and let that sit for a minute. Add this into my pan, and I'm gonna make this up real quick so you guys can get on with your night going over here. I did my stuff out of order. I was gonna do a different order and you know, I forgot. So I'm just gonna spread this out in here. It's still a little bit sticky. Spready spread. Oh my gosh, it smells like chocolate heaven. Get in there. This is the best little spatula for when you're cooking. You can get right down the bottom of your mayonnaise jars, or you scrape the bottom of your peanut butter without getting your hand dirty because it's so long. I love this thing. It's kind of got like a sharp little point on it there. Not sharp, but a point. Okay, good enough. Just my kids eating them. Y'all aren't here to eat them. In there. No lid. I'm gonna do 4 minutes. And just rinse the chocolate off my hand here. It does have raw egg in it, so I'm gonna check on these meatballs, see if they're done. They might not be done yet. They look pretty done. Look at that. My big reveal. Ta-la, look at this steam. Who knew that you could do ground beef? You could do meatloaf in this thing. I've done it 100 times. It's the best. It's only available right now in the Steamy Dinners collection. We are waiting for a shipment of them on their own to come in. But as of right now, it's only available in the Steamy Dinners collection. But it retails on its own for, I think, $51.95. I think the Steamy Dinners collection is $53.95. You get the steamer and 3 meal solutions. So I would say just get that anyway. Instead of even getting it on its own, I would recommend to people that they get the collection. I'm just gonna cut in. It is done. Stab it here so you guys can see. I can not burn myself. I'm gonna burn myself. Hot, hot, hot. Can you guys see that? It is perfectly done. Not dried out at all. Wipe my hands on my fancy apron. I'm a ham, sorry. I'm a bit much sometimes. Get me in front of a camera, I swear. I'm gonna give it a little taste here, see how they are. Trying to burn myself. Very good. I'm going to throw a little bit of spinach into here because I love to add spinach to stuff. I'm going to give that a little zhuzh zhuzh. I'm going to take the carrot out now, I think. If you didn't see before why I put the carrot in, it's to add sugar to get rid of that from your canned tomatoes. Delicious, guys, so good. I'm gonna drop in my meatballs. Flippity flop. You know what I did too? You know what I do? I just thought of it, and I gotta share it with you while I'm thinking of it. You know how when you're cooking with sausage, like let's say, I don't know, whatever you're doing with sausage, and you have to kind of cook it first before you can like do what you want with it because it takes forever otherwise. Put your sausage in here in your steamer on your little tray for 5 minutes, depending on the size of the sausage, maybe 6 minutes, maybe 4. Put it in, all the fat will drip out. You'll get perfectly cooked sausages that you can just throw in your pan and brown with whatever you're cooking it with for like 3 minutes. It's the best idea. I feel like I came up with it all on my own. I don't recall anybody else doing that, but it works. I will never, my mom calls it parboiling. I don't know if that's an official term. I will never boil my sausage first before I cook with it again. I will always do this. How good does this look? I'm not making the pasta right now because again, I'm serving this on Thursday. I want to show you guys, I took this out. I want it dripping everywhere. Check this out. That is all the fat and gross that was in the ground beef. And then you can literally kind of fold this up in half and pour it out into however you get rid of your grease and fat. I have a fat jar at my house. So, one of my kids is out of bed, sorry. Brownies, just like that, perfectly done. I'm gonna give it a little stab. You have to let it sit for 6 minutes. I'm not going to do that. Perfectly done. Fork came out clean. You see that? I'm gonna let this sit for 6 minutes. I'll take it out, post a picture for you so you can see what it is like. My husband thinks I've created completely. Been using Epicure. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Like with the Epicure, you can totally make it however you want to make it. If something says to use coconut milk, but you don't like coconut milk, use whatever milk you like. There's no rules. It's just guidelines, and it's so easy. It's so yummy, and it's so good for your family. Believe me, if I can do it, you can do it. So, like I said, I'm gonna let the brownies cool. I'll pop them out, cut them up, and I'll take a picture, show you guys. That's it. I'm gonna go because got a kid out of bed, and I've kept you 4 minutes longer than I wanted to. But thanks so much, guys. Have a great night. Stay tuned because there is game and a shopping special for everybody who is shopping tonight. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining me in my little kitchen.